Hello, my name is Lana and welcome back to my channel. I have not posted a video in so long. The last time I sat down to film something was in March and I don't know if you noticed my absence, if you missed me or not, but regardless, I am back. I did look back at my schedule, the filming schedule that I had in the beginning of this year, and it was 3 videos per week, which now seems like a lot, like a bit excessive. I don't think I will be going back to that many videos. I don't know how many will I do. Even today, I knew that I wanted to film, I knew that I had the time, and when it came to actually deciding what I will do, it was really hard because I don't really know what I want to do. I don't really want to do a vlog right now. I do have a bunch of tags that I need to do, that I was tagged in by other incredible booktubers, and some of those tags are so fun and I really want to do them, but I don't know, I just feel like I don't want to do a tag today. So instead I thought I might just give you a little reading update into what I've been reading, what has been happening. Currently in April I have been reading, and I will be still reading for many many days more because it's taking me a very long time to get through this. Dead Souls by Nikolai Gogol. This is not the whole book, just like these 3 are Dead Souls. It's like 200 pages long, and I mean the font is pretty tiny. I did think this would take me so much faster to get through. This is a Russian classic that was written in the 19th century, and it's known for being very funny. It has like very bright and exaggerated characters and situations, and it sort of makes fun of people and it's definitely entertaining, but I would edit this down so much. There's just a little too much. So yeah, this is the first page, and I am over halfway done. I still have like 50 pages, but it's taking me so long. Have I skimmed anything? A little bit, like a little bit. If there's some kind of discussion, I'm just like going very fast with my eyes, not really stopping to fully register what's happening on the page, because otherwise this will take me years. Otherwise, I'm in the middle of the ACOTAR audiobook. Me, Amrita, Rosie, and Nat decided to read ACOTAR in April for the first time and discuss it, and we actually just hosted, Nat hosted a discussion of, you know, what do we think so far at the 15% mark. Spoiler alert for that discussion, which I will link in the description below. Check it out. We had a very fun time discussing this book. Most of us are DNFing it. I decided to continue. I mean, I said that I will continue just because I have the audiobook checked out. It's not really a hardship to listen to it. It's not that long. I mean, it's kind of long, but I'm already halfway through. Like, I can do it. But now that I said it, I kind of don't want to anymore. Everyone's been telling us that you can't really judge the series by this first book, and especially by the first 50% of the first book. But I just feel like I have so many other things that I'm so much more excited about. So I don't think if I do get to the end of the first book, I will not be continuing in the series. So for the past like a week or so, maybe 2 weeks, I spent a lot of time in the hospital, and I was just going through all of the emotions, and I knew that I needed something that will distract me, something that will pull me in a completely different world, but in a different way that ACOTAR did. And I remembered that a month ago, I think, in one of my reading vlogs, which I will check which one it was, and I will also link it in the description below, I started this book called Haberna May by Marley Mars. This came out very recently. This is it feels like a YA, but the main character is like 23 and the other is, I think, closer to 30. but it feels very YA, fantasy, about an antique shop which is actually full of cursed objects. And one of our main characters, he is the shopkeeper, and he is there to sort of protect the outside world from these cursed objects. And this guy comes in to apply for a job and stuff happens. Excuse me. Okay, I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, haberna may. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's very silly. You don't really understand what's happening. It's not explained to you until the very end, but it's that sort of ridiculous and silly that I needed. And I'm very glad I read this book, and I did give it 4 stars. It doesn't stand close to some other fantasy books, which are much, what's better done? I don't know. But I gave it 4 stars because it brought me 4 stars kind of feelings. It brought me joy, it helped me, it distracted me from my fear, and I'm very grateful for that. Next, I wanted to mention that I have been really trying to focus on getting through books that I physically own. I have a list in my bullet journal of all the physical and read books that I own. There are 30 books. Here is this list, and every month is a different color. So for example, all of these books I had before this year, and in January I bought, what is it, 2 books, and then new month, and every time I buy new books in a new month I add it on, and then I use the colors that I choose for each month to show how many books I've read in that month from this list. Is this making sense? So like February was green and I read nothing from this list in February, but then March I read 1, 2, 3 books. And so in April I decided to continue the trend of reading at least 3 books that I own, and I've already done that. In April so far I've read Weird Sisters by Terry Pratchett. So lovely and so incredible, and there's so many references to so many different Shakespeare plays. I almost had like a bingo board in my head of like, let's find all the plays that I referenced in the text. I really enjoyed it, and this is my 2nd Terry Pratchett ever. And now I'm thinking what should be my next Discworld book. If you are a big fan of Discworld and you know most of the books, if not all, I feel a pull towards the book The Truth. I'm also feeling a pull towards, was it Guards? I really like detective series and like murder mysteries, and I've heard that that's good for someone who enjoys it. So let me know. I have those 2 options. Which one would you recommend for me? Then I picked up The 13th Tale by Diane Setterfield. I have heard so much about this book. So many people love it. And my sister bought it for herself like a month ago, and she read it and she really enjoyed it. And I found an audiobook in the library, and I thought, you know, I would just start listening to it on my commute and then go back and forth with the book. I am so mad because I read most of this book on audio. This was a day when I was out and about a lot, so I ended up listening to most of the book. And I was trying to find where I'm in the book when I realized that, oh, the audiobook doesn't have this scene. Or, oh, like I'm listening to it and reading at the same time, and oh, it just skipped this one giant paragraph. Turns out the audiobook I listened to was abridged. So it doesn't have like a whole chunk of plot. And I was so upset. This book is so good. Just when I started reading it, I fell in love with the way it was written. The writing style is incredible. It's so beautiful, but like not beautiful in the sense that it's so literary that it's hard to go to read it. It's just so engaging and atmospheric, and the story is a little creepy, and there's this family and these sisters. It's so great. And then when I was like literally at the very end, I realized that, oh, I missed half of the book. I would one day want to reread this book in physical form to not miss any of that again. Why does the library have an abridged version of like a contemporary book, which is not even that long. It's 450 pages, which sounds long, but like the font is very big. And like, why would you need an abridged version? I don't understand. And then I finally started reading from the stack of books that Kieran sent to me. I decided to start with the most intimidating book from that stack, which was The Visit from the Goon Squad by Jennifer Egan, and I got triggered in one of the chapters. I really liked the way it was written. I liked that the prose was very clean and to the point, which is what I really enjoy. And it's kind of written almost like a short story collection. Every chapter we follow a different character. All of the characters are connected, but also every chapter is like in a different time period. So like we follow this woman who's in her 30s and she remembers how she used to be an assistant to this like older guy, and the next chapter is this older guy's chapter, but when he's a teenager. So like it jumps in time, go to different people, and it's a very interesting concept, and there are some chapters that I really liked more than others. I just realized that I'm really not a fan of, not even a fan of, I just don't like reading about the whole sex, drugs, and rock and roll sort of topics. Reading about bands, reading about the 80s, reading about drugs. I'm thinking of Daisy Jones and the Six and how like I enjoy the book overall, but also like the themes in that book as well, following a band in, what is it, the 70s, the 80s. I just don't, that's not something I'm interested in. The chapter that triggered me was about a sexual assault, and when it happened, a normal person would probably close the book and put it away and try not to think about it. Me, being me, I was like, let's read it again and see what exactly got this strong of a response from me. Because I've read books with sexual assault, I've read books with rape, and though it has never been a pleasant experience, it never like triggered me. So I was very curious to see what exactly in here made me react this way. And I realized it was because the chapter was written from the perspective of the man who was doing the assaulting, and you sort of read his thought process. I did finish this book. It has a chapter that's full on a PowerPoint presentation, and I really enjoyed that chapter. That was a fun one. But overall, I think this book is just not for me. I think this book maybe was trying to be very honest about human nature, but it just ended, well, seeming to me as, let's just collect all of these characters who are very flawed and highlight their flaws. But as I said, I really enjoy the writing style. I just didn't enjoy the content. Okay, I also wanted to mention some books that I bought, and I'm currently in the middle of a book buying ban, which is going great. I bought 0 books in March, and in April so far I've only bought 2, but I feel like it's allowed because I read both of these books. These are not going to be added to my unread physical books. The first one I actually read a few months ago. Oh, maybe it was last year. What is time anymore? I read it on audiobook. It's a nonfiction book about trauma, and it was incredible. It was a little hard to listen to at times because of the subject matter, but there's so much that I learned from this book. And this book is The Body Keeps the Score. I did not know that it was translated into Russian. I had no idea. I was in the supermarket getting groceries. I was not trying to buy books, and I saw this book, and it does look like a textbook. I'm just so excited to have it. There are some chapters that I remember being like, I need to revisit this, so I have it now to do that. And then I did go to a bookstore just for fun to see what they had, and I bought Fence. I don't read a lot of graphic novels. I've never been someone who was interested in manga or anything. Like, it was just not part of my life. But Fence, I was so excited from the very beginning when it was announced because it's written by C.S. McCall, who wrote the Captive Prince series, and I really like their writing style. And when I heard that they were doing a graphic novel about fencing, I was like, yes. And I should mention the illustrations are by Joanna the Mad. It's beautiful, and this is the very first volume. I mean, it's very, very, very pretty and lovely. I think I mentioned in my Tolkien Cookalong with Rosie, which I will also link in the description below, that I had a dream since I was a little girl to be a princess on a horse in a beautiful long dress with a sword, galloping towards the battle to, I don't know, defeat the orcs. And when I was in musical theater school, I did the stage combat elective, which that semester was focused on the rapier, and I loved it so much. But then that semester ended, I moved on, years passed, and then this comic came out and I was a big fan of it. And I think it was 2 years ago when I thought, I want to try fencing. And I started trying different classes. I found the place that I really liked, and I started fencing. And I didn't stop until the beginning of the quarantine last year. So I took fencing classes for a year and a half, something like that. And it's all because of this comic. The night before the first class, I reread the first volume. There's like a little section here in the beginning where the coach, she doesn't like explain the rules full on, but she does go over what are the different weapons that can be used in fencing, how does that change the rules, what to do, and the little exercises that they do. I remember reading all of this and be like, I need to remember all of this for tomorrow's class. Knowing some kind of skeleton information about what fencing is as a sport was really helpful. Actually, I always wanted to do this. So this is my fencing mask. This is the only, this is actually the only piece of equipment that I own because everything else is very expensive. I'm fine borrowing the weapon and the clothes and like the rest of the equipment when I'm there from what they have, though let me tell you, those clothes smell. But I really wanted to have my own mask because I was like, it touches my face. I don't know if you know this, fencing is a very sweaty sport, and I was just not cool with using like a communal mask that other people use on like my very sweaty face that other sweaty faces have touched. So I ended up buying my own, and a little thing that I like to do, which is so stupid, I put like a drop of my favorite essential oil right here. Even when like the gym smells or like the borrowed clothes are disgusting, when I put this on, it smells really good. It looks like I'm a beekeeper, but oh, whew. So I highly recommend this graphic novel. I think this is all I wanted to share today. I do want to say a big thank you to everyone on Bookstagram who has been messaging me and sending me get well messages and just asking after my health and everything. And it's so incredible to have a community that was really there for me, and thank you all so much from the bottom of my heart. Something that I always forget to mention in my videos, I do have a Ko-fi account. If you are able to and you want to and you like my content and you want to support this channel, I would really appreciate it. And I think that's now all that I wanted to mention. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.